One of the hardest things you'll ever do is leave a man who still doesn't get it. You want closure. You want the apology. You want him to be accountable. You want him to look you in the eye and admit how good to him you were and how he never deserved you. But sadly, that's not how it works. This is nothing but your ego craving the story where you win, where he realizes his mistake, comes running back, and treats you the way he should have all along. But waiting for that moment is how you lose years of your life. It's how all my 20s were spent. Waiting for men to fully choose me. Waiting for them to be sorry for mistreating a good woman like me. But the thing you must realize is that you're the only one playing that game. He's not sitting there plotting on how to prove himself to you. So why are you plotting how to prove yourself to him? Learn to sit with the discomfort of walking away. It's supposed to feel uncomfortable, especially when you've been trained to measure your worth by someone else's recognition of it. That's the detox. That's the withdrawal. Your body and mind recalibrating after years of chasing approval you should have never had to earn in the first place. But it will get more comfortable the more you choose to walk away without the closure you wanted, without the outcome you wanted. You're giving yourself a new kind of closure, one that doesn't depend on him. That is from my new book that is out now called This Is For You, So Much to Unlearn Plus Relearn. And it's out now on Amazon. You can get the Kindle ebook or you can get the paperback. And the link will be available in the bio, in the description. That is from chapter 6 called He'll Never Get It. There's also a journal that goes with it. So I have a new journal out that's called So Much to Unlearn Plus Relearn, the journal. Book sales have done really well so far for This Is For You. I'm excited about that. Thank y'all so much for all the support. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. But yeah, so let's get into it now. So I feel like most often we stay with men longer than we know we should because of the discomfort that comes from walking away. The discomfort that comes from, I didn't win. I didn't get him to act right. I didn't get the type of relationship that I thought we would always have. And then you think about all the time that you put into the connection, all the time spent trying to make it work. And so it's hard to walk away from that because it's like, damn, after all this time, he still just does not get it. And so when you meet a man that's a little beneath your standards, maybe he's a little emotionally unavailable, maybe he's not quite right for you, but you feel like, okay, if I just earn his love, if I just prove to him how good of a woman I am, then maybe, it can work out. So you take that man that's halfway right, that's halfway decent, thinking that, oh, I can work with the rest. You may be highly attracted to him. You may have good chemistry, but there are some standards that he's not quite meeting, and you feel like that you can just earn his act right, or earn him loving you right, or earn his love. And so therefore you start to perform because this is what you're used to doing, and this is what you believe you have to do. So you don't look at his behavior as something that is a product of him. You look at it as like it's a product of you not doing enough or being good enough. And you think, if I can just do enough, then I can get him to change. It doesn't work that way. Oftentimes you may find women that seem to have it all together and seem to just have themselves put together with the shittiest men. And the reason being is because it's their ego keeping them in that situation. Their ego is like, I know that I am a catch. I know that I'm a good woman. Why can't this man see it? That's all it is. When you see women in situations like that, that you know deserve better, but that woman just hasn't seen it yet. That's all it is. It's her ego keeping her there. Her ego wanting to win in a situation. Her ego not being able to accept that this man is giving her the bare minimum and not more like she deserves. And so the ego is not a bad thing, ladies. You must retrain your ego. You've been using your ego incorrectly the whole time. So your ego should be a bodyguard, not a beggar. That means instead of using your ego to beg for men's approval, you redirect it into protecting you and your self-worth. I like to think of your ego as something that causes you to think very highly of yourself. Think that you're too good for certain things, because you are. You are too good for some men. You have to quit thinking that you thinking highly of yourself is you being stuck up. I know most times social media and other programming and conditioning has made us feel like that we are being stuck up when we think too highly of ourselves. But you have to look at it in a way, it's like, it's not you thinking that you're better than anyone else. It's you protecting your self-worth and protecting your boundaries. It's you respecting your boundaries and what you know you want and what you know you deserve. It's you just giving a damn about your life. That's all it is. And if someone thinks that you are stuck up because of that, then that's them needing to do their self-reflection on themselves and their lives and the lack that they have in their lives, not you. It's them having to do the work. It's them having to check themselves. And it's also more than likely whoever it is upset that they can't have the access to you like they want. And not only that, I feel like people become upset at you because they would like to have that type of self-worth for themselves, but they don't feel they deserve it. And so because they feel they don't deserve it, they feel like you should not be thinking that highly of yourself either. Because it's like, if I can't think that highly of myself, then why are you? And so basically, none of it has anything to do with you. And you trying to fit with everyone else that thinks lowly of themselves will have you out here experiencing very low quality experiences. Will have you out here not getting the type of man and the love and relationship that you want because you're down low, vibrating on a lower frequency so that you can match everyone else and not seem like you're better than anyone else. You have to get that from your mindset and use your ego for what it's meant to be used for. A bodyguard ego values boundaries over access. It sees rejection not as a wound to your self-worth, but is a filter for who gets to be in your life. I feel it's very important to know why you are doing what you're doing to help you reprogram and recondition yourself. And so the urge to prove yourself is not random. That reflex didn't just appear the first time a man treated you poorly. It usually starts within your childhood. And so if you're like me, more than likely you grew up in a household that had conditions. And I want you to understand that this doesn't mean that you had parents that were abusive or very toxic. It doesn't have to run that deep. It can be that you had good parents, but they were still a little conditional with their love, or maybe they had very high expectations of you, or maybe they even parentified you, especially if you were the eldest child out of your siblings. And so maybe you were praised for performing well and ignored when you didn't perform well, and maybe even punished when you disappointed your parents. So you learned to work for approval. You learned that love wasn't just given. It was earned through pleasing, overachieving, fixing, or staying silent when you were hurting. So these lessons may have gotten you through your childhood, but they're hurting your relationships now. The same woman that tried to be good enough for her parents will try to be good enough for a man. So in tracing where it all started is how you take your power back. It's basically you deciding that the way my parents parented me wasn't right. Like the things that I've learned wasn't right. So in my new journal, So Much to Unlearn Plus Relearn, there's a section in there that has where you create like this graph. You draw a line straight down the middle of the page, and on one side you put what your parents taught you, and on the other side you determine if that still fits your life today. In some degree, you may not have realized that your parents were teaching you that love has to be earned because maybe you felt they were raising you to be a good daughter. In which, in a sense, they were, but sometimes it doesn't translate over well. It just translates over to, I have to be good enough in order to be loved. Sometimes when you did wrong and when you disappointed your parents, not saying they should not have punished you, but it shouldn't be them taking their love away from you when you disappoint them. The love should remain the same. They shouldn't love you the most when you do the most and when you overachieve and when you do what you're told. They shouldn't show love only then. They should love you throughout. They should love you anyway, regardless. And that's something that I was missing from my childhood that I didn't realize. That's something that I was personally missing from my childhood and didn't realize till I got older and went through all those toxic relationships to where I was trying to prove myself to a man. And for me to heal from that, especially the second time after I got hurt really bad, after that, I started trying to figure out, like, how is this the second time I've been hurt this bad? Like, what is it? Where is this coming from? And so I started tracing it back to, it had to be somewhere in my childhood. And so I started thinking about, how was I loved? That's just something that came to me. And so I thank God for this wisdom, because I'm like, I don't know what made me do that. Because back then, when I was going through my heartbreak, social media wasn't really around, and I didn't go to therapy then. I went to therapy for something else much later in life. But anyway, I started tracing it back to my childhood, and I thought about, how was love shown to me? Like, how was I loved? And I have a lot of that in my new journal as well, that has you retrace your steps back to your childhood to see where all of this came from, because it didn't just come out the blue. And that's how I started kind of looking at it. And I think my psychology background in college, because I did get a degree in that, so I just thought about that's probably where it all came from, that helped me to realize I need to trace my steps back to see what's really going on. And so I realized that my mom was emotionally unavailable. Like, she only showed love when I was doing well or performing well, or did what she asked me to do, or when I cleaned up, but she didn't show me love just for being who I am. I felt like I always had to earn it. Like, it was never enough love. And so I went into my relationships doing the same thing. And so when you start to realize that that's where it came from, you start to unpack it, and then you start to change it. But now moving into executing what you've learned. Now, this is the tough part. And I'm going to be straight up with y'all. You know I'm always am. So for me, I did not really learn how to walk away. I never truly walked away from men that I knew weren't good for me. And I'm not talking about the toxic relationships in the past. I'm talking about when I started actually dating for real. Like, when I started dating men that were a bit better quality. Maybe they weren't as straight up toxic like my exes, but they weren't really for me, and they didn't want commitment, So I didn't really learn how to walk away. I just learned how to protect myself. So I put my ego in place, and I checked my ego and retrained my ego to determine that, okay, something's off with this connection and with this guy. You like him, but he's not quite right for you. So what I did was I pulled back instead. Instead of getting my hopes up, putting my all into this man, chasing him, trying to get him to like me, to choose me, trying to get him to move in closer, I fell back. I used boundaries. I didn't go all the way in. I matched his energy. And I didn't quite learn how to walk away and just say, this is not for me. And I think it's because I was new to this, So I was gentle with myself. I knew how to not go all the way with a man and not to get overexcited and romanticize a man. But I didn't know how to just end it and say, this is not it, and walk away. And I think because I didn't date long enough before I met my husband. Like, I've dated maybe a handful of guys before I met my husband. So I met my husband fairly quickly after healing myself from the toxic relationships within the same year. So I didn't have a lot of time dating. So I didn't have a lot of practice in it. But I did know that my ego was now going to be used to tell myself that he's not good enough for you. Don't go all in yet. We got to see what he's working with. You have to teach your ego to take pride in choosing you first. That's the switch that needs to happen. The ego's job should no longer be to convince a man to choose you. It should be to protect you from anyone that would make you question if you should be chosen at all. And so a bodyguard ego operates differently. It asks, is he safe for me? Instead of, does he like me? Because the honest truth is, ladies, is that it is very hard to walk away, especially from a man that you have grown a liking to and you've grown an attraction to. When you've been conditioned to prove yourself, it's very challenging to do. It's not going to just click overnight. So have some grace for yourself here. And so my suggestion to you, if you have not quite learned how to reject men or how to walk away, is to just lean back. It's just to withhold and to match his energy and not go all in with this man. And eventually either he will get tired because he's realizing that you're not chasing after him and he'll just end things, or you'll decide to just end things when you realize it's just prolonging. I would also recommend to still date while you're talking to a man like this that you're not quite sure of and you don't feel really good about yet. You're not sure how it's going. He's not all the way in. And so if you have like that little doubt about him, continue to date. Because what ended up happening with me is that I dated this guy that we were like liking each other a lot at first. Had good conversation, went on a date, seemed to like each other. And I remember after the date, he asked me, did I still feel the same now that I met him in person because we met on Tinder? And I was like, yeah. And I thought that was an odd question to ask. Like, why ask that? Why not just go with the flow, with the vibe? And when he asked that, I said, okay, he don't like me like that no more. I just felt it and knew it. Sure enough, like his interest in me seemed to like taper off some. It wasn't as consistent. And I questioned it a bit in myself, but I was like, you know what? I don't think he's into me like that. I'll just keep him on the back burner because he got me on the back burner. And I kept dating. And then that's when I met my husband. And when I met my husband, I wasn't quite sure about him at first either, because I'm never quite sure about a man. I don't think you should be sure about a man that you're just getting to know. You know, even if you like him or attracted to him, you don't know that man. And he don't know you. So I wasn't even that sure about him. I was just like, whatever. But as I got to know him, I'm like, I like him more than I was thinking I would. And I feel like this could be something serious. And so that's when I text old dude like, hey, I know we haven't, I didn't say this, but I'm thinking like, I know we haven't been texting a lot, but I'm still going to say it and clear it up because I want to clear up anything from my past. I don't want to get texts from this man still while I'm talking to one that I'm very interested in and know that we'll be serious soon. And so I just text him basically like, you know, hey, it was nice getting to know you, but we're going to have to end text conversations here. And so that's what I mean. It's like, you don't go all in with a man that is like withholding, or you feel like something is a little confusing about the way that he is pursuing you. You don't feel quite right in it. Don't go all in when you're just getting to know this man. And so I didn't with him. Like the old me would have been texting him, asking when we're going to go out again, would have put all my eggs in that one basket. You know, no, don't do that. My ego was there, but it was retrained to be like, he's not quite good enough for you. He doesn't like you like that. He's not pursuing you. We're not finna put all our eggs in this basket. Let's keep dating around. And so that's what I did, because I usually don't date around. I usually date one guy at a time, even if it's not official. That's just something that I do personally. And so once I realized that he was kind of like half out, I just kept dating and met my husband. So I'm telling you, do not go all in with a man. If you can't walk away, if you haven't quite learned how to do that, withhold. I can't stress that enough. Because sometimes a man will just never get it, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it could be just because you're not his type. Oh, well. It could be because he's not ready. Oh, well. It can be a number of things. But you can't make a man get it if he just doesn't get it. You can't make him see how good of a woman you are. You can't make him treat you right. You can't make him do anything. There's nothing you can do. So repurpose your ego. Don't get rid of your ego completely. Use your ego to determine who is right for you and who is not. Use your ego to remind you that you think highly of yourself. You deserve the very best. You deserve a man that wants to, so he's going to. You know, you deserve clarity. Your nervous system does not need another man that you are anxiously attaching to. Your nervous system needs clarity. It needs to relax. It needs someone that is sure of you and makes you feel sure. So look at it like that. If you're new to retraining your ego in this way, look at it as like, I must do what's right for my nervous system. Like, let me date someone that is calming to my nervous system. That's not going to trigger me. That's not going to make me question myself. You don't deserve to be sitting there questioning who you are, questioning your worth. No. So, retrain that ego. Understand that if he doesn't get it by now, he's never going to get it. Nothing you can do about it. Okay? So, that's all I got for this podcast episode, girlfriends. Coming up on Healing Sundays, I'm going to be talking about trusting your intuition. And that is also going to be another chapter from my book, This Is For You. And in trusting your intuition, I'm going to also talk about how to determine if it's your anxiety or if it's your intuition, and how to hone in on your intuition more and your discernment more. So check that out only on my YouTube channel. If you're listening to this podcast, check out my YouTube channel for Healing Sundays. That's the only place you can find it. So until the next time, girlfriends, peace out.
Excuse me, can I please talk to you for a minute?